This is Courage Barbell, and I'm your host, Chad Ikes. I'm back at you with another question I think I got from my Instagram. To be perfectly honest with you, I hope whoever sent the question watches this video so I can apologize for not responding directly. And somehow, I can't find the comment now. I don't know if it was on a YouTube or an Instagram or through my column. I don't know. But it was a good question, and I wanted to try to answer it, so I thought I would make a video on it. Basically, the question was about Conjugate, and he's an older lifter who doesn't have a whole lot of time in a gym, and he wanted to know if he could do basically a dynamic week, then a max effort week, dynamic week, max effort week. Just a great question. If you guys are interested in this type of stuff, let me tell you, go to elitefts.com, find my column on the site under the articles, and you can go back to all of my articles I've written for years and years and years for Elite. And I've talked about programming and how to bend Conjugate. But I wanted to do this quick video this time too because it's nice to talk on video as well. So Conjugate has always been my go-to. I've trained just about every way possible. And let me throw, I love Wender's 5-3-1. I didn't really do that when I competed, but now that I'm not competing as much, every now and then I'll actually throw 5-3-1 in there because I think it's a cool program. But basically, I've always been Conjugate. And I've been Conjugate because I like how malleable it is. You can really bend it and twist it to the individual. You can even bend it and twist it to a group where you can have a group pretty much train together, but also kind of train different to meet the individual needs. And if you look throughout my career when I was training with my team, Conjugate morphed. It was always morphing and changing a little bit. And now that I have clients and I have different clients, it may change for the different clients and what they need, what phases they're at, how old they are, lots of different factors. People want to, it seems to me, lifters want to tend to get into this. I want the sets, the reps. I want what days I need to train. I want all this set lockdown information, and strength doesn't really work that way. We are individuals. Even though we're all similar anatomically and physiologically, we're all different, and we all have very different lives. You cannot compartmentalize training and go, oh, it's in this one box. It's right here. It's always going to be just this box. Nothing else touches it because everything touches it. Everything we do always is going to touch that. As I was getting stronger, what got me to a 400-pound bench was not what got me to a 6. It had to change. What got me to an 800 bench after that, it had to change. As I got older, it had to change. As I got stronger, it had to change. It's changing and morphing all the time. I have one weak spot, and my training is based around what is that weakest link and making that stronger. At one point, that becomes my strength. Now I have another weakest link, so now I got to change things again. It's always about changing things. The best thing you can do when it comes to strength training is learn how to train. Don't be taught training. Learn how to train. Learn how to see these things. Learn how to find them quickly. Learn how to change the program quickly. Learn to have the confidence in yourself to go, hey, this is going on. We need to change this. So, as Conjugate has morphed and changed over the years. When I read this gentleman's question, I go, man, this guy's on the right track. He just needs me to give him a little boost to go, hey, yeah, do that. Like, try it. What's the worst that can happen? Give it 3 months and see what happens. I find that most athletes overtrain, especially as they get older. When you get into your 40s, 50s, 60s, like each year is going to be a little harder to recover. But you want to keep up that intensity of your training, at least in most of your training sessions. So you need a little more time to recover from aggressive training sessions than you did in your 20s and 30s. So I think, and I'm talking about Conjugate in terms of like basically a West Side template where you have dynamic squat, dynamic bench, max effort squat, max effort bench, and then a bunch of different little GPP or recovery sessions or all those other ones in between there. I have been on, in the end of my powerlifting career, we were on what I called a 14-day split. I did the normal West Side template in 14 days. Right now, I have the guys I'm training right now. Some of them are older. Some of the other ones are younger. I found that the basic 7-day West Side split is very hard for most people to actually recover from. A lot of guys end up really beating themselves up, and a lot of guys don't want to take deload weeks, or they really don't understand what a deload week is. And they just end up overtraining, and they end up beating themselves up. They go into meets beat to crap and worn out, and they hit better numbers in the gym than they do in the meet. They're having injuries. Their joints hurt. I mean, we're talking about 20-year-old guys that can't squat in less than like an hour of warm-ups. I mean, I'm 50. Well, not 50 yet. I'm 49. 15 minutes, usually 12-minute. I have a 12-minute winning warm-up. I'm ready to go. I got 1,200-pound squats, 1,100-pound squats, 800-pound benches, like some of the best totals in the world. I should be beat to crap. How come I'm not beat to crap? How come I can just go squat when these 20-year-old kids are already beat to shit and can't do it? Because I pay attention to my recovery. So, the end of my powerlifting career and now, basically what we do is that 14-day split, which essentially is a dynamic week with the dynamic squat, dynamic bench, and the next week we're going to do max squat, max bench. Now, if you did that alone, most people would undertrain, and undertraining is not something we want either. So what I do is, depending on the person, I will fill in recovery sessions and possibly some more GPP sessions. Or if I know this is an outdoor person, I'm like, okay, well, let's take the weekend, but the weekend I want you going out and I want you hiking. Some of my other people, they have kids. So on the weekends, they're doing tons of shit with their kids too. It's not like they're just sitting around. And like depending on where my sleep is at, on those ones, I'll train every day. But I'm doing lots of little GPP sessions where it's like, go drag a sled for 20 minutes. Go out there and do a timed 20-minute lifting session in the gym with light weights, high reps. And I add a lot of different stuff in there as I can fit it in. Ideally, I want to be in the gym every single day. But a lot of those sessions are 20 minutes and they're light. It's just me getting in there and moving. And that also depends on what your job is. If you have a very physical job, you don't need to be in the gym as much. If you have a job where you sit on your butt every day, then you do need to be in the gym every day. So there's a lot of stuff to take into account. But with this guy, I just wanted to talk about, listen, you have the 4 main workouts. You can go anywhere from 8 days to 14 days, depending on where you want to be. If you look over my competitive days, we started on 7. That lasted about 4 months, and I went, this is stupid, because everybody's overtraining. Everybody on my team was overtraining every 3 weeks. So instead of deloading every 4th week, I'm like, no, I want to be a little more consistent. So we started on 8 days. We did 8 for a while. Eventually we went to 10. Then we went to 12. And then we ended up on 14, and I think there were some other ones in between there, like 11s and 9s. But if you flip it the opposite, then you start training on different days each week, which is okay. But if you got kids and kids going to school and sports, it's easier to train the same days every week. So, which brings up another funny side point. Why does everyone want to train on 7 days? Like, the 7-day work week to me sucks. Like, I don't know why we don't get at least an 8-day work week with 3 days off. Like, why does everyone feel like they have to train on a 7-day template? Who the hell ever said 7 days is the template? So don't be afraid to modify that. Don't be afraid to spread stuff out. You're going to be... Overtraining is essential at some point in every lifting career. Like, there are benefits from overtraining. But you don't want to get too far into overtraining, and you don't want to stay in overtraining too long. Generally, if you're a super aggressive person, you probably need to back off some, and you'll get a shit ton stronger. Every time I spread my sessions, these this conjugate, every time I spread it out, everybody on my team got strong as hell. Everybody got stronger every single time we spread it out. And I think that says something about actually letting the body at least recover to the point where it's ready for the next training session. You don't have to be completely recovered every time you go into the gym. But you do need to be recovered to the point that you're going to get the best training session and then recover from that enough to get the next best training session in. Do you want to do a whole lot of shitty training sessions where you're beat to crap and sore, or do you want to do everywhere almost all your training sessions is like, yeah, man, I feel good today. I can't wait to train. And then you get done training, you're like, yeah, man, that was a great session. All right, let's go. And then you're just antsy to get to the next one. So to answer that question, yes, I would try that. I would try those 2 weeks, and then depending on your schedule, try to hit at least a recovery GPP day afterwards. That's 20 to 30 minutes. And then if you can find time throughout that week to work on, smaller muscle groups, like say biceps that you need to do, even though they suck. Or add in, hey, I know I'm having problems with my upper back weakness. So I'm going to add in a 20-minute session this week to just focus on my upper back. A lot of face pulls, band pull aparts, stuff like that. Like, don't feel like every training session has to be this crazy in the gym training session. You can get lots and lots of benefits from small 15 and 20-minute training sessions. All right, guys. Trying to make these videos a little more reasonable to watch and not be super long. So I'm going to say goodbye and cut out right here. Please like this channel, subscribe to this channel, follow this channel, follow my Instagram, hit the like button so you know when new videos come up, and blah, 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 blah with all that other shit.